Good morning and happy new year. If you're watching this, it's presumably in 2026, and this is a video basically just telling you what do I have planned for PolyInnovator in 2026 in this next year. So normally I would do like a yearly review before this and basically go ahead and talk about what happened this year, what am I planning next year, and I'll use that as a way to make this video. But instead, I'm going to make this video off the cuff. I'm going to make it basically just telling you what I'm intending to do, content-wise, perhaps even like personal-wise, and then maybe professionally, and just kind of treat it as like a bigger, longer now page update. The first and foremost thing is, at the beginning of this year, I did a content blitz. And what that means is it's multiple sprints in one. And if you're familiar with project management, a sprint is just basically doing a ton of work in a short time span to get the project done. And I wanted to do a blitz so I could get multiple projects done. And I would say it was actually rather successful. It was a little bit too divergent in the amount of projects and types of projects that I was trying to do. However, I want to do it again. And while I got a decent amount of those sprints done, I didn't get all of them done until later on in the year, or even one of them, actually, the Polymath Wiki newsletter, I didn't get done. And I don't know why, but I just never got around to getting it done. But it's been sitting on me for a while. So the other thing is, whenever I started making content, I had this strategy in mind. And the strategy was because I wanted to have a baseline consistent layer, and then I could build more content on top of that, including bigger projects like books and courses and stuff like that. And so the idea of the Omni content series that I used to do on this channel, and I kind of reinvented for the Content Polymath channel, that one I ended up doing a episode every week, or try to do it every week. The whole point was doing it every week, if not every day. If I could just do a post every day, that would be insane. Imagine how much growth and content you could produce in that time span for a year. And so the Omni content episodes were a blog post, a video, and podcast, all three in one, going out every day, and they would all get, scheduled to social media platforms like Twitter and Threads and all that jazz. And then you might get like a clip or a quote image, and you have even more content from that. And then you're doing that every day. So you're posting 50 to 100 times a day. And that kind of is still something everyone can do. And I think that I started doing somewhat similar with the Content Polymath newsletter that I was working on this year. And I have a plan for the next Blitz next year. I'm already kind of working on it right now. I kind of wish I had done more preparation at the end of this year. It's the last day of the year, and yet I did not get enough done. And I haven't even batched out January's content yet. But I'm hoping that within the next couple of days, I'll get that done. So what are the sprints? What am I planning on doing? How does that impact you if you're watching this? Especially because since this channel has a few different topics, you might have followed me for the Obsidian stuff, the knowledge management stuff, the Polymathy stuff. Should have mentioned that first, Polymathy probably first. Or even like the travel content, right? And this is a personal brand channel, Dustin Miller, PolyInnovator. That is my name. That is what I create content around, is my personal brand. And I use this as a method of sharing ideas and content and stuff that I want to make. That's why I made the travel content, because I was just so interested in that content. So the idea behind this channel is going to shift a little bit. I want to make more Obsidian-based content, and I'm probably going to, but I don't know when that will be. That doesn't, as much as I would want it to be my baseline layer, I don't think I can. It takes too much effort and too much time to make, especially since I want to also still do my other channels and newsletters at the same time. So I think that maybe at least once a month, I'll be posting something more detailed and heavy when it comes to the PIOS and Obsidian and knowledge management. I would like to do a lot more Polymath posts more often than not. So maybe twice a month, ideally. And then presumably actually doing some travel content as well once a month. So that's kind of where my brain is at right now. And I actually just, came up with that as I'm talking right now. And I think that's a great idea. It's a great ratio. 2 times a month doing Polymath, 1 time a month doing knowledge management, 1 time a month doing travel content. And then for those of you who are curious about the Polymath Polycast, my interview show where I interview polymathic and multidisciplinary people, I want to bring that back. I really have a lot of great guests that I have in mind that I either want to bring back or have on for the first time. I want to make this next season the best out of all of them, but it's just not a priority as of right now. If I can get my sprints done quickly, then I'll start it back up. And then that would probably be once a week doing an interview. And the Polymath Polycast used to also have solo cast alongside it. I don't think I'm going to do that in the future. So now every episode of that podcast is going to be an interview. Now, that is it for the PolyInnovator channel. I think the consistency videos that I post are either going to be one of those 4 topics that I mentioned, or perhaps something even different that I just have in mind in my ideas list, something along those lines. So that's the idea, and maybe I'll plan out the year ahead after this video. I keep saying today. It's so frustrating. I don't like doing filler words. Now, when it comes to the gaming channel, I think that one, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly go over it because there's not going to be a whole lot to it. Basically, the gaming channel is weighted on how many times I live stream next year. I really want to play Octopath Traveler 0, and I also have the Lenovo Legion Go now, and I finally got a dock for Christmas to plug it in, so I can have a capture card set up, and I can basically play my Lenovo Legion Go, play the games, and use the other computer to stream and record. I think that's a good combo, and that way I don't have to have the same machine doing both. I never thought I'd be doing a dual PC setup. I thought I might, but I just never thought I would go ahead and do it. And now I have 2 computers that are pretty much perfect for this scenario. And that way, the other big issue too, when it comes to like data, videos like this take up so much storage, and especially since I produce so much and I'm going to be producing even more, not to mention the interviews are like 10 gigs each, that storage gets filled up real quick. And then on top of that, games take up a lot of space, 60 to 100 gigs by themselves. And so I only have like a terabyte on that Lenovo Legion Go. I thought about getting one of those little USB-C flat drives, like not flash, but flat, like tiny little drives to put in it, and just leave that in there. Or I don't have it near me, but I have an external graphics card that has an SSD slot built into it. So maybe what I'll do is I'll install Windows on that or Steam OS on that and have a separate instance on that graphics card. And that way I can just boot up into that if I want to dock it. That might be kind of cool. That's a whole nother project though. And so speaking of tech like that, the dock, the, external graphics card, I'm not going to talk about those stuff on the PolyInnovator channel, but that could fit very well on the creator channel, like talking about docking your laptop or portable devices. Or maybe what I'll do is actually make a video on both. I'll do a video talking about that dock on the creator channel, but I'll talk about using the dock on the gaming channel. And so that's one thing I also want to mention too. I really like the idea of cross-pollination between the channels. I bought the Lenovo Legion Go for gaming, so most of the videos I've made about it are on the gaming channel. However, I can still use it for content creation, so I made videos about it on the content creator channel. I think I even talked a little bit about it on the PolyInnovator channel because I can use my knowledge management stuff on there too. There is so much potential between these different channels to talk about the same device in different ways. And that is something I also want to mention too, before I even get into the spiel about the content creator channel, because the idea of cross-pollination, but on top of that, the just ability to grow these channels. I've noticed that on the PolyInnovator channel, the travel content actually gets more views than most of the other stuff. On the content creator channel, the smart glasses I reviewed, or some of the like little mini PCs I reviewed, those are overviewed sometimes too. Those get a lot more views. On the gaming channel, I actually made a video talking about the PS5 dark plates that I ordered and installed. And I think that those kind of videos are going to drive a lot more traffic to these channels. So I need to balance it out where I love the educational based content. I think that's what most people actually get the most benefit out of these channels. I'm not super entertaining in a lot of ways, maybe on the gaming channel, but not so much on the other two. So my normal content, while it is specific for certain purposes, and some people are going to really love it, like Obsidian or how to build a content creation database, that kind of thing. And that's some of the stuff I want to make in the future. That'll also be cross-promoted between the two channels. Because if I make a video about content production in Obsidian, that can go on the knowledge management channel for PolyInnovator and the content creator channel of the content Polymath. So I can just basically collaborate between my two channels and call it a day. Cool. But the idea of using technology and reviews and overviews to drive traffic and drive views and keep people around because they like what I did with that tech. They like who I am as a person. They like that vibe and the way I explain things. Okay, cool. Stick around. You can find out how I'm using it. And then here's what I'm doing with it, that kind of thing. And then, so let's get to the content Polymath channel. Now I'm talking about the YouTube channels. I haven't even touched the newsletters yet. So the content Polymath channel is going to be the main focus, which is why Polycast might be taking a little bit of a break because I've been doing so many content creator interviews and I have so many that I want to do. I've even toyed with the idea of doing one a day, which is insane. Last time I did something like that, I burned out pretty bad. But if I could just do a whole year of interviews, imagine how many clips that would be. And the networking behind it too. Granted, it takes so much effort. I would have to probably hire an editor at that point if I wanted to do it. But I love the idea of doing 100 posts a day on YouTube. You basically do one video and then 99 clips, or maybe like one video, 3 community posts, and then 90 something clips. That is something that is interesting to me, and I think that no one's really tried it too much. And it kind of goes back to Roberto Blake's Blitz strategy. His Blitz is a little bit different than mine, but same philosophy, really. And so just really kind of put out a crap ton of content and see how it happens, because then eventually it's going to get saturated and that strategy will no longer work. But right now I think it would work, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to focus on the more sustainable stuff. And really, again, I can't drive this home enough. I want that foundation. I want to basically schedule out the whole year's worth of content ahead of time. That's the apex of the video, Pete. Well, that is what I want to do. And I think that the way to do that is starting from the newsletters. So let me touch on that before I get into the videos of the content creator channel, because there's a lot of complexity to that. The newsletters are the Polymath Wiki, the Content Polymath. Technically, I had the PIOS update, but I'm not really going to do much with that. That's mainly just if I ever make a blog post about knowledge management, if anyone's curious about it, I'll send it out. I have the swimming newsletter, which I do kind of want to touch on a little bit, and then the gaming newsletter. Is that it? Am I forgetting one of my own newsletters? No, I think that's all of them. But the point is, the main two that I really am focused on are the Polymath one and the content one. The Polymath one is one of those sprints that I did at the beginning of this year that I failed to actually complete or really do much of. And that's why I wanted to bring it back. I have like 30 or 40 posts lined up. I literally just need to watch the video and write about it, because I wanted to highlight other creators and then potentially have those creators on my show, which is one reason why I wanted to wait for the Polycast, because then I can have the people I reach out to through that endeavor to come on the show, because they're already talking about polymathing. We might as well have them on. Not to mention, I want to have the researchers back on. I want to have some people who are very much like heavily into the polymath world come back on. And so that's the ideal. Once I get that sprint done, that's about half the year. And actually, theoretically, if I were to just do it the whole year, I have other videos saved in my playlist and stuff like that. So I might try to do that as soon as possible. At the very least, let's just get January out of the way. Maybe I'll do more of those sprints throughout January, and I don't have to do it all right now as of the time of this recording, but in my brain, that's what it feels like. And so that's the idea. I have about 80 or 90 posts just in my like actual ideas folder too. So I have the next like 3 years planned when it comes to what content goes into the Polymath Wiki. And then the content newsletter, this is where it gets a little tricky. One of the sprints that I actually failed to do at the beginning of the year this year, but I did towards the end of the year, was the PolyTools posts. At the beginning of the year, I was so focused on making the PolyTools directory website, where I basically had over 1,000 tools people can explore. Like, I just found so many that I wanted to share with people to list. Eventually, I took that website down because of this financial strain, but on top of that, it just kept breaking on me over and over and over again. If I had someone helping me, maybe it would be fine, but overall, it was too difficult to keep around. Now, I'm still holding this mic because it feels too quiet when it's this far away. And so I was like, let's just keep it close. Plus, it feels like I'm getting interviewed. So the idea behind the PolyTools post, though, is I had like 30 plus categories. Well, you want SEO traffic driven to that directory. So I had the idea, like, let's make a blog post for every category. Top 3, top 5, top 7, top 10 tools in this category based on basically how many tools were in that category. And then I would schedule them out ahead of time. That idea was great. Didn't really do more than like 3 for the first half of the year. And then later on in the year, I finally scheduled them all out. Now they're all scheduled until the end of June, beginning of July. That's kind of insane. That's half the year I have a newsletter scheduled out. Great, but that's not really why people signed up for the Content Polymath. They wanted to learn how to be a content creator. I think those content tool posts are going to be super helpful, but I still want to make content creator related posts alongside that. And so the idea is, whenever I make a content Polymath newsletter post, I'm going to actually schedule them out from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So I'm going to have one a week for content creators, and then for the first half of the year, I'm going to have one a week content creator, one a week tool based. And then once those tool posts run out, I'm actually just going to make another content creator post for the rest of the year. Keep both of those streams alive for this year. Starting up next year, I'll just go back to just one a week, unless people really love having 2, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that it's just going to be helpful to have 2 for this year, especially since I have a lot of ideas I need to get through, and I have a really interesting strategy behind those posts too. When I started making this newsletter again, because I had done it for a while on Ghost, when I remade it on Substack. I've since left Substack. It was broken. It was terrible. I had so many issues with it. Don't want to get into that today. I have plenty of videos about it on the content creator channel, or some blog posts about it as well. So the idea was, I would make a video and a blog post, and the video would automatically get cut into an audio cast. I don't think I'm going to keep that podcast going because it's just too much work to have that be as part of the process. If I transfer it off a Substack, then I might do it. But overall, I don't think I'm going to. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just like cross post from my Ghost to Substack. That might still be a viable option. I'll consider it if people really want that Substack to live on, but I'm probably just going to move everybody over to Ghost. But the idea is I was making a video for the Content Polymath YouTube channel and a blog post at the same time. I still like that idea. The podcast was a good benefit, and like I always say, you should be making all three anyways. But if I had to cut the podcast to make this an easier process for me to get done, I'm going to do that. But I can always make it later on too, and just repost it down the line if I have to. But the idea was that whole year-long Content Polymath posts for the newsletter would also be the weekly videos for the Content Polymath channel. So the stuff I'm talking about, like how to be a content creator, what is a creator equation, those kind of things, that's what I'm going to be making posts about. And those are the posts I'm going to be making once a week, scheduling them all the way out. And then I'll be also making more content-related videos on the Content Polymath channel. So I'm going to be doing the creator interviews, ideally once a week. The cadence has been kind of fluctuating, especially around the holidays, but hopefully I got one in the books right now. I'll probably schedule another one here soon. Me and Doc Williams also have our Brand Doctor show on that channel. I like it. It's fun, something we have a chance to catch up every once in a while and say, hey, here's a new tool that we liked. And I think that's been helpful too, because both of us have a lot to get out. Like, this is all the stuff I'm saying right now. I'd also be telling him. I have told him a little bit, and we probably will talk about it next week whenever we have our show. But the idea behind that show was to, first off, just be like your doctor for your brand, right? Do you have an issue with your brand? Let's fix it. Let's work on it. And we also have just this love for branding and content creation. So we want to just express that together. Plus, it makes a lot of clips, so that's great. And so the idea behind putting all this effort into this channel, so I'll be having one a week, basically how to be a content creator posts, ideally one a week creator interviews, maybe once every other week, depending on the cadence and how much effort I need to put into it and how well these sprints go. And then the Brand Doctor show I mentioned the gaming channel a little bit. It revolves around live streaming on there. I do have ideas, right? I have the Lenovo Legion Go here. I have this dock. Again, I can make more tech-based videos for that channel. I think that would be a good way to keep the channel alive and also bring a new audience to my channel. I would like to live stream more and then make more smaller videos from those live streams, but that takes a lot of effort. And if I'm already doing those other sprints, I may not have the time or ability to do that effort, but if I do, it'd be a fun way to generate more content. And then ideally for the newsletter, I'll probably just do like once or twice a month. I don't really care so much to bring that once a week. If I have the ability or the ideas to do so, that's a different story. But I think that if I'm going to write anything for the gaming newsletter, they're going to be pretty long-winded. So once a month at the very least. And then the swimming newsletter as well, I'm going to bring that back once a month. That is it. Oh, no, the Now page update. So basically what I'm doing now is a glorified Now page update. Here's what's going on personally and professionally in my life. What are my plans going forward? That kind of thing. A Now page update was an idea for having a Now page, like an About page, on your website by Derek Severs. You know, cool author, cool idea. And the idea was you just had a page that you updated once a month. I found that it was way more interesting when I kept it going and you had a history behind it. So let's have multiple episodes in a row. So let's say 2 years ago, what was my Now page like? What was I doing 2 years ago? Now I have that historical context because it was a blog post series that I turned into a video series once a month on the 1st. So right now I'm basically doing my preview for the next year on this channel. I'm going to be doing my yearly note on Obsidian where basically I'm talking about what did I do this last year, what am I doing the next year, and did I accomplish the goals that I set out to achieve, what are my goals for next year, etc. I might make a video about that ideally here soon on this channel, but if I don't get around to it, I'm sorry. Maybe ping me a comment to bug me about it. And then I also do the quarterly note and monthly note. This is the one time a year where I have a lot of utilitarian work I need to do in Obsidian to get things going. But once you get that going, it's pretty nice. It's pretty helpful. Other than that, I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.